Assalamu alaikum fam, hope you're doing fantastic. So let's continue our educational learning session of Tirmidhi, and please, I highly recommend you get these books. Do not let them become wasted. Do not put all your sacred knowledge in the hands of tech companies or the electrical grid, which can be turned off at any time, and they look really nice on your bookshelf. And they're sort of an heirloom for you to pass on to your children, and it's more relaxing to see paper than to be staring at a screen all day, right? So let's begin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Chapters on Salah. Chapter 3. What has been related about al-Isfar in Fajr. Rafi bin Hadij said, I heard Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, saying, Perform Fajr al-Isfar, for indeed its reward is greater. Sahih. He said, there are narrations on this topic from Abu Barza al-Aslami, Jabir, and Bilal. He said, Shuba and Athawri reported this hadith from Muhammad bin Ishaq, a narrator in this hadith. He said Muhammad bin Ajlan also reported it from Asim bin Umar bin Qatada, another narrator in this chain of hadith. Abu Isa said, the hadith of Rafi bin Hadij is a Hasan Sahih hadith. More than one of the people of knowledge among the companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and the Tayyibi held the view that Fajr was to be performed at the time of al-Isfar, and it is the saying of Sufyan al-Thawri. Ash-Shafi, Ahmad, and Ishaq said, the meaning of Isfar is that Fajr becomes illuminated such that there is no doubt about it in it. They did not hold the view that the meaning of al-Isfar is to delay the prayer. Okay, highly educational. And that is spelled A-L space I-S-F-A-R. Comments. It was the routine of the noble Prophet, peace be upon him, that he would begin the Fajr prayer in the darkness of dawn. There had never been a time that Allah's Messenger delayed offering of Fajr prayer apart from when he was teaching his companions the prescribed times of prayer, and when he was on a journey with companions and they overslept such that they woke up only after the sunrise. Well, there we go. Chapter 4. What has been related about hastening duhur. Aisha narrated, I have not seen anyone who hastened duhur more than Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him. No Abu Bakr, no Umar. Hassan. He said, there are narrations on this topic from Jabir bin Abdullah, Habab, Abu Barza, Ibn Masud, Zayn bin Thabit, Anas, and Jabir bin Samura. Abu Isa said, the hadith of Aisha is a Hasan hadith. This is the view that was chosen by the people of knowledge among the companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and those after them. Ali bin al-Madini said, Yahya bin Sa'id said, Shuba criticized Hakim bin Jubair due to the hadith he related from Ibn Masud, from the Prophet, peace be upon him. Whoever begs from the people while he has what will suffice him. Yahya said, Sufyan and Zaida report from him, so Yahya did not see any harm in his narrations. Muhammad said, hastening duhur has been related from Hakim bin Jubair, from Sa'id bin Jubair, from Aisha, from the Prophet, peace be upon him. Comments. Unless there is extreme heat, offering noon prayer is in its early time is preferred and more virtuous. Anas bin Malik narrated, Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, prayed duhur when the sun had passed the zenith. Sahih. Abu Isa said, this hadith is sahih. It's the best hadith on this topic, and there is a narration on this topic from Jabir. What has been related about delaying duhur in severe heat. Abu Huraira narrated that Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, said, in every hot weather, delay the duhur prayer until it becomes a bit cooler, because the severity of heat is from the raging of hell. Now this is funny for me, not because it's talking about hell, but because I'm such a snow person that I literally gets above 7 degrees, I feel sick. You know, like 80, 90, 103, I'm literally just like feeling like it is from hell. Now, I know people have higher tolerance for heat in some other parts of the world, but I can lay in snow and feel content. So the heat for me is very like, whew. So this is a mercy, letting us be able to delay it until it's a tad bit cooler. And that's for the duhur. Because, man, heat is hot. Hot. He said, there are narrations on this topic from Abu Sa'id, Abu Dar, Ibn Umar, Al-Mughira al-Qasim bin Safwan. I love that name, Al-Mughira. His father, Abu Musa bin Abbas, and Anas. He, peace be upon him, said, it has been related that Umar narrated something from the Prophet, peace be upon him, about this, but it is not correct. Abu Isa said, the hadith of Abu Huraira is a Hasan Sahih hadith. There are those among the people of knowledge who have chosen to delay the duhur prayer in severe heat. It is the view of Ibn al-Mubarak, my other favorite name, Ahmad and Ishaq, al-Mubarak and al-Mughira. I hope to have two sons named that. Ash-Shafi said, the duhur prayer is only delayed until it is cooler when the masjid the people attend is distant. Oh, okay, look at that. When the masjid is distant. As for the one who prays alone, or the one who prays in the masjid of his people, I would prefer that he does not delay the prayer in severe heat. Today we kind of have air conditioning, so you're gonna be alright in most cases, right? Abu Isa said, the view of those saying that the duhur prayer should be delayed in severe heat is preferred and more worthy of being followed. As for the view of Ash-Shafi, that the permission is only for those who have to cover a distance because of the hardship on the people, in the hadith of Abu Dar, there is what proves the opposite of what Ash-Shafi said. Abu Dar said, we were with the Prophet, peace be upon him, on a journey when Bilal called the adhan for the duhur prayer. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, O Bilal, let it get cooler. Then let it get cooler. If the matter was in accordance with the view of Ash-Shafi held, then there would have been no reason to wait until it was cooler on that occasion, since the people were all together on the journey and they did not need to come from far away. Oh, it's so cool. I love how there's these both points of the heat. That's in distance, right? So heat and distance. Oh, this is amazing. That's so awesome. Comments. It is the opinion of the majority that in the case of extreme heat, delaying the noon prayer to duhur is better. But Imam Shafi and Malik preferred it to be in the early time, and the delay is allowed if needed. It's interesting because depending on your geographical location, sometimes doing it early is cooler than doing it later, right? It's interesting. Abu Dar narrated, Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, was on a journey, and Bilal was with him. So he wanted to call for the prayer. But he, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Let it get cooler." Then he wanted to call for the prayer. So Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, said, "Let it get to the cooler time of duhur." He, i.e. Abu Dar, said, "Until we saw the shadows of the hillocks. Then they command that the Iqama be called, and then led the people in prayer." Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, said, "The severity of heat is from the raging of hell. So wait until it becomes cooler for the duhur prayer." Sahih. Abu Isa said, "This hadith is Hasan Sahih." Now, okay, so heat of hellfire. Now, gardens beneath which rivers flow. When you're in a garden, the plants have a coolness to them that almost make you relax, and also it has a sense of aromatherapy. When you're close to water, the breeze bounces off the water and goes to you. It has a very cooling effect than if you were out in the dry prairie with no foliage around you, nor water body. So, notice the contrast of hellfire and the heat of the day, and how one of the aspects of paradise is comfort and shade and water and plants. This shows you the consistency and the wonderfulness of paradise. And we are able to have more respect for the women who wear the niqab in very hot areas. And when we're suffering with heat and we're still being modest instead of being half nude, like women in Miami or Las Vegas, and we're still holding strong to our religion, even if people giggle, we know that the heat is from hellfire, and that by still being modest and enduring the heat, we'll be able to have that glorious shade in paradise, whereas those who decided to commit certain sins over and over will be subjected to the hellfire, even though in the world they were able to get shaded in other ways, right? With their refinements and luxury and pomp, decadence, ornateness, stuff like that. It's really quite interesting. It really makes me relax when I think about no more heat. You know, my paradise would be, like, my little zone would be filled with lots of snow, you know, like a giant refrigerator. Let it get cooler does not mean to delay it until late. Its objective is that it may be delayed until the shadow of the wall spreads and walking under it is possible. Very cool, right? Very cool. Because the way the sun moves and the way the shadow comes, got the walls, you get a little shade if you ain't got a lot of trees around. Very cool, right? MashaAllah, tabarakallah. I love this book. Makes me so happy to study Hadiths. Please consider buying the volumes yourself and reading them. And don't just use your phone. Your phone also allows many notifications. So if you're on your phone, something comes up, you'll exit it faster than if you just had your book.